Hey guys, welcome back to the channel on another show recap where I bring you Gypsy Rose Life After Lockup, and we are now on season 2, episode 9, and this episode is called A Baby for Christmas, I think. Yeah. Well, if this sounds interesting, please stay tuned. So let's get into it. The opening scenes begin at Ken's house, and we have to see this horrible looking ass gingerbread house. I don't know who made the gingerbread house, but Ken is performing his, wifely duties, and he is loading up the dishwasher, and it looks like he's cooking something. And while he's doing his wifely duties, Gypsy is, doing the usual. If she's not laying around, she is looking for attention, propped up with her phone, and I guess sitting doggy style. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Trying to do yoga. I don't know. But she's over here doing what she does while Ken is performing all the wifely duties. He's doing dishes and he's talking to the producers, talking about that Christmas is his favorite holiday and his favorite season because he loves to get together and he just loves everything about Christmas. And they're talking about what they're going to get Gypsy's family for Christmas as Christmas gifts. And, he even knows what to get Mia, and Gypsy don't even know what to get Mia. So he's like, yeah, how about we get her a makeup palette? And they're just talking, and Ken's talking about what he's going to be making because they're going to have a family gathering for Christmas, like a Christmas dinner. So while Ken is saying, I'm doing all of this and that, Gypsy's like, well, what am I going to do? Ken's like, well, you could just shadow me in the kitchen so you can learn how to cook, bitch. And that's when she goes on to say, well, I can't wait till Aurora's 1 because when me and my mom, what we used to do is we used to get cherries and dip them in chocolate and use almonds for the ears and the stem for the tail. And we used to make these Christmas mice. Ken looks a little bit awkward looking at her. He's like, okay, all right, Christmas mice. That'll be cute for Aurora, I guess, when she's 1 year old. So after they finish discussing that, we get to a scene where Mia is getting her graduation photo shoot done. And it's going to be in stark contrast to Gypsy's photo shoot, as you're going to see coming up, where Gypsy's going to be having those, the baby photo shoot that she has, where she looks like a completely different person on Instagram when she posted these pictures. But we get to see how she really looks in the show. So stay tuned for that. So, Chrissy's here with her sister and, they're just excited that Mia's getting her graduation photos done because she had hit a milestone and, this is just a beautiful time. It's just a wonderful time. Like I said, here comes the contrast, maternity shoot now of Gypsy Rose. So we already seen all this played out on the internet, but she's getting her makeup done. Her makeup artist as well looks different on the show. She actually looks much bigger and much different. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying how Gypsy and everybody else around her, when she posts them on social media, as opposed to on the show, there's no filtering. So everybody looks completely different. So as Gypsy continues to get her makeup done, producers are still talking with Ken, and Ken's just like, any day now I can be a dad. Like every day is another day closer where I'm going to be a father. And it's just so exciting. As Gypsy is putting on her wig and she's just admiring the wig or whatnot, Ken asks Gypsy, so is that the length that you want to grow out your hair eventually? And Gypsy's like, yeah. But I find it funny that she says that because it's obvious that Ken likes long hair, whether it's blonde with his preference. He likes a woman with a long hair or men, but Gypsy keeps chopping it off. And she goes on to talk about, I've always worn synthetic wigs before when I, shaved all my hair off in scams. But, I don't know why, but Dee Dee always had Gypsy's hair short as well throughout her whole childhood. And now that we see Gypsy making, decisions with her hair nowadays, she's continuing to have it short. So that was just something interesting that I wanted to point out that Ken said to Gypsy and asked her, and she says, yeah, she eventually wants to grow her hair back out, but she keeps constantly cutting it. So we get to see the photographer, and she's looking for, beautiful scenic backgrounds, which is what photographers do. So, Gypsy can try to, capture the scene around her and the beauty around her. But, you can't polish a turd. So it is what it is. We then now get to December 16, and this is 2024, and we are back in Ken's house. So Ken now is getting this meal together. He's talking about he got some Colby cheddar and he's going to make some baked macaroni. He's going to make some squash, and he is so excited that he is going to be making his first ever, what's it called? A Wellington, beef Wellington. It's just something, one of Gordon Ramsay's signature recipes. And he goes on to say that Gypsy had an appointment today, but it was an appointment that she did not want him to go to. And I find that interesting. I wonder why Gypsy did not want Ken to go to this, prenatal appointment. Ken alleges that Gypsy said it is really invasive, but I don't see why it would be invasive, other than I think that they're checking you to make sure that you're not dilating at this point. I don't see how that's invasive. Like, he had his whole sausage in there. So, yeah. So as Ken is talking to the producers, 23 minutes later go by and he now gets a phone call, and it's Gypsy. Gypsy's on the phone. She's all calm and she's like, hey, the doctors checked me. They said that I am dilating and they just want to observe me. And, Ken's like, he don't know what to think. He's just like, hold up. Can we no longer do the Christmas party? Is that bad news? I mean, what's going on here? So Gypsy's like, she doesn't really know. I mean, it's too early, but they are going to be giving her some steroids because it is early, so the baby can continue to form her lungs, because she is approximately at 35 weeks, not even 35 weeks. I believe in 2 more weeks, he said, Ken, that she will be 35 weeks. So that's pretty much a month early. So he gets ready to start packing up, and he, gets off the phone with her. Gypsy asks him to bring her bag. And he's looking for this bag everywhere. He don't know where the hell the bag is at. He's getting frustrated because he keeps calling her and she's not answering. Eventually she does, and he finds the bag, and they get in the car and they get ready to go to the doctor. Ken gets in the car, and here's the producer saying, hey, make sure you drive safe, mate. Ken's like, oh yeah, I'm not rushing or anything like that. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. But as you see when he's driving, he is a bit erratic. I mean, as a new father, getting news like this, I guess it could be a little bit nerve-wracking, justifiably so. But you still want to maintain calm on the road because it is very, very dangerous. He then calls his mother, Raina, and give her a heads up on what's going on. And I guess he goes on to call the rest of the family and let people know, what's going on, at Gypsy's in the hospital and that he's going over there now. He goes to try to get gas, and he's cussing and everything up like a sailor because for some reason the one gas pump isn't working, so he had to go over to the other side and move his car to get gas on the other pump. Ken finally reaches the hospital, and I guess there's no filming inside. So we just, I guess, flash forward to like 2 hours later, and we have Ken coming outside and letting us know what's going on. But before that happens, we have Gypsy in the hospital bed doing video vlogs and, of herself, and while Ken's up there, and she's just explaining what's going on, that she's been there for 2.5 hours, and that she wants to go home, that the bed isn't really comfortable, that they're trying to see if they can release her early, if she's stable. So Ken goes outside to call the family and think that they're going to keep her overnight, but eventually they release her. So he goes outside to talk to the producers and say, he has all this food he wants to cook. He don't want to waste it, but his main concern right now is that Gypsy and the baby's okay. And, that the hospital actually said that she is going to be released today. So he's happy that he can go back so they can still have this Christmas party. Gypsy gets in the car. He's like, okay, everything's good. Everyone's feeling good. Okay, it's good news. We're going back home. But I want you, Gypsy, this is what Ken tells to Gypsy, I want you to follow the doctor's orders and just lay around. And she's like, yep. I mean, Ken, what else the fuck do you expect her to do? This is all she does all day. Is sit on her fucking ass and be on the internet and stirring up fucking drama. Like, I mean, she's doing what she's always been doing. Well, anyway, we get back to the house and he goes, I'm resuming exactly where I left off. So he's chopping up the onions and doing what he has to do. It's 5:39 p.m. now. And Ken's just, talking to the producers and saying that, after Gypsy had got her steroids so the baby can, fully develop her lungs and things like that, that they just want to hold off for at least another 2 weeks before the baby decides to make her appearance. That is when the best part of the show happens and you hear Ken calling, Parker, no, where'd you find it? Apparently Parker sniffed out his present and he ripped the packaging off of it and ate his Christmas gift, which was a smoked bone. It was like the cutest thing. So Ken starts doing his green bean casserole and he starts thawing the puff pastry for his Wellington. And that is when Rod, Mia, Christy, and her mom arrive to Ken's house where Gypsy and Ken, well, pretty much Ken is hosting this Christmas dinner party. Everybody's just talking and, filling in on each other about the visit with Gypsy's visit with her at her prenatal appointment today and the concerns that they have about the baby, trying to make an appearance early, but they're hoping that the baby can stay a little bit longer so the baby can cook in the oven a little bit longer. That is when Mia goes into the kitchen while Ken is there and they have a little one-on-one heart to heart where she's like, hey, listen, if you ever want to talk to me, I am here. Don't worry, I am not the person to take sides, meaning like she's just not going to automatically take Gypsy's side. And we already know how Mia is. Mia has a better head on her shoulders than her own mother. Mia is a better virgin than Christy Krusty. Okay, I can tell you that for a fact. But, they're just discussing about how Ken feels about parenthood and things of that nature. It's just their little one-on-one. After their talk, Mia goes to Parker and say, hey, you want to go outside? And she lets Parker go outside in the backyard. Now remember, this is the house that Ken really wanted that had the backyard that's fenced in for Parker. So I'm sure Parker is really enjoying this house and I love it for him. So Ken continues cooking and he's talking to Rod and Rod's like, hey, I'm making this such and such and such. This is my first time making this beef Wellington. I'm no Gordon Ramsay, but if it doesn't taste good, just fucking lie to me, which is the stupidest thing ever because if something doesn't taste right, I want you to tell me the truth so that way I know how to fix it for next time. It's fucking stupid. But anyway. Ken decides to call his mother, Raina, and let her know that Gypsy's back home and everything that happened today. And he decides to ask her, hey, Mom, was I a premature? Did I come early? And she's like, yeah, you were supposed to be born on October 17th, but you came on October 1st, which is funny because October 1st is my daughter's birthday. I guess they are both Libras. Pretty interesting. So maybe Mike can be able to decipher Ken's personality a little bit. That is when Raina goes on to say, yeah, you were 2 weeks early, but your fat ass weighed almost like 10 pounds. And that's when Rod spits out his beer and he starts chuckling. Ken gets to the oven and he's like, it is showtime, baby. Let's do this. Because apparently now the beef Wellington, which was the final meal or the final staple of the meal was ready to be served. We get some beautiful Christmas decorations going on outside before we get to see everybody sitting at the table getting ready to have dinner, and Rod goes on to say a prayer. We all know it's always Rod saying a prayer because Christy and Gypsy are demonic and they will catch into flames. I've said this once again. Hopefully it doesn't sound too old, but pay attention, and you notice it's never Christy or Gypsy saying a prayer. It's always Rod. Gypsy then starts to say that she, this is a different Christmas for her. She never had like the big family element about Christmas. It was just a typical family Christmas because it was just, they didn't spend it with anyone. They didn't have Christmas dinner. Yeah, I assume they just fucking ate air, or maybe the candy canes off the Christmas tree and they just starved. And then they opened 2 gifts and that was it. I mean, Gypsy, that's better than a lot of people. Some people don't have anything at all. And blame that on your father, Rod, and on Christy, who decided to treat you like the estranged, sickly child, okay, that didn't want to be in your life. That was not your mother. That was your father and Christy, who treated you like the fucking plague and went on to celebrate Christmas with their own children, your half-siblings, sisters, and brothers, while they put everybody's name on a Christmas tree except yours. And yeah, there's a picture out there to prove that. And it's now after dinner. Everybody's full, and Ken goes on to say that he is excited. This is his first time that he's celebrating Christmas with Gypsy's family. He didn't know what to get anybody, so he just went off of things that he liked, and he's still getting to know everybody and what their likes are. So he gives Christy her gifts first. She gets about 3 gifts. Everyone's cheering on, opening their gifts or whatnot. Rod's all excited because his gift is awkwardly wrapped because it's it's awkwardly shaped, and you can only guess what it is. Look at Christy's expression. Oh dear Lord. If the apple don't fall too far for the tree, she is scared. He has a fucking chainsaw. So he's all excited about that. And then Gypsy's all excited and laughing. Everyone gets to laughing because Rod loves bath bombs. He just likes to relax because relaxing for months at a time at sea isn't enough. Gypsy then goes on to have a flashback and goes on to say that this Christmas is completely different from last year's Christmas. When she was Gypsy Rose Anderson and she was married to Ryan, and she got her gift and she was like, ooh, Kirsty Louboutins. And Ryan got her these fuck me pumps, and then he just sits there looking like a creep biting his lip, like he can picture her naked wearing them. It's fucking weird. And so then nighttime turns into daytime, and it's a whole new day. We see Gypsy Rose on the phone talking to her half-sister Mia, congratulating her on her achievement that today she is having her pinning ceremony because she is graduating from nursing school. So we get to see Rod, playing around with Mia's hat and how to put it on. Mia's talking about she got this black dress that she bought a year ago that she only wore one time. So she's going to put it on again. And she would love for Gypsy to be there, but she doesn't want them to be sitting around all these hours. And the fact that she can have baby Aurora any day. That is when the producers ask Christy, well, what would you happen if you get a call from Gypsy saying that she's going into labor? And Christy's like, duh, I will watch Mia get her pinning ceremony, and then we will all probably have to haul ass to go visit Gypsy at the hospital. Mia is my daughter, duh. Gypsy just goes on to finish calling and, telling Mia how proud of her she is and that she loves her. Rod is just like, hey, I just hope that doesn't happen because this is Mia's day and she deserves her day to go uninterrupted. They wave Mia bye as they meet her at the pinning ceremony, and they take videos of her, having her walk to go get her pinning. And, Christy is there, and Mia's aunt Kathy is there, which is Christy's sister, and they're just having a touching moment. And then after the pinning ceremony, as the sun going down, Christy and and Rod are talking to producers saying that they're just so glad that Gypsy didn't call saying, hey, I'm at the hospital. You need to get here. So Rod and Chrissy decide to take Mia to dinner, and Mia is accompanied by Andre, which is Mia's boyfriend. This is the first time he is actually in the show. He acts a bit awkward. Like, he doesn't really want to be there. We don't blame you, Andre. This family is fucking deranged and weird. We do not blame you. Rod goes on to give Mia a whole, heartwarming, I'm proud of you, my daughter speech for graduating. Now, Dr. Mir, go save the world, baby. Yeah, he really says that because Mia graduated from nursing school. It is now later on in the day. Ken is always doing his wifely duties while Gypsy's sitting on her ass. While she's sitting on her ass, she is talking to Ken, talking about she contacted the birth certificate department, and they said since she changed her name back to Blanchard and she removed Anderson, which was her married name, that if Ryan was to sign a piece of paper on the birth, pretty much the birth certificate on the day of Aurora's birth, that the baby will be born and can be born Aurora Rayner Blanchard instead of an Anderson. So she's reiterating this to Ken, who then serves Gypsy, I guess, breakfast because she can't do anything for herself. And Ken is just spewing out his frustrations, where it's just so an unfortunate legal stepping stone. I mean, I don't know why it's just so unfortunate for him. Like, he knew what he was doing. He decided to go between someone's marriage and screw this possum while she knew she was married and get her pregnant. So this is something you have to go through. Suck it up, Buttercup. Gypsy then goes on to contact Ryan's attorney, to letting him know if this is something that Ryan would be willing to do, to go on and sign these birth certificates when Aurora is born, so that way Aurora can have her last name as a Blanchard instead of an Anderson. Then she goes on to say that she is going to call his mother because contacting his attorney and him isn't enough, because she says that Ryan's mother and her are on good terms. Her name is Miss Joy. She then fixes her lips to have the fucking audacity to say, well, maybe he will want to come because, I would think that he wanted to see me when we finalize a divorce to get some closure, but he didn't. Cunt, you're not important. And why do you keep forgetting how you treated him and what you did to your ex-husband, Ryan? So then we finally reach the scene where we get to see Ryan. Ryan is in the car. It's late night and he has Pixie. And she's looking out the window and he goes on. I guess he has producers in the car because he's like, yeah, she enjoys it when she's going to my mom's house. He goes on to say that he indeed get Gypsy's, emails, or I guess whenever she contacted his attorney, talking about if he minds on the day of the birth, driving down to the hospital and filling out the birth certificate so that way baby Aurora can have Gypsy Rose Blanchard's last name instead of Anderson. So he continues talking to producers about that email that Gypsy Rose sent while he's driving to his mother's house. So Ryan and Pixie finally get to his mama's house and they start talking about the message that Ryan got from Gypsy about changing, signing out the birth certificate to get rid of Ryan Anderson's last name on baby Aurora's birth certificate. So Rom's mom, her name is Joy, goes on to ask him, well, do you want to go and see her? And he's like, he goes rightfully so to express how he feels about the situation, saying, I'm not driving 3 hours just to go down there, put my feelings aside on a shelf while they're all celebrating this, their baby and things like that. And I'm just standing there to do something for her and then leave after all she's done to me and hurt me. Like, I just not something I have an answer for right now. And quite frankly, I don't believe I need to do this for her. This is her situation. She needs to fix this. Ryan's mom, Miss Joy, then goes on talking to producers, stating that Ryan has a very soft heart and that this whole situation broke him. And then they go on to ask Ryan's mom, how do you feel about all of this? You welcomed her into your family. And she's like, yeah, I did. I really did care for her. And she goes on to say that one day we were all just sitting here and it was like another day and we were laughing and carrying on, happy as a family, and the next minute, she was gone. She disappeared, and I never saw her after that. It happened so fast for him, and it happened so fast for me, end quote, that Miss Joy said. Then, Ryan Moms goes on to share a memory of the last time that she and Gypsy Rose spent some time together.
My first real, semi-real meal by myself. Tell me. So it was just a Nor pasta side. I'm playing on my phone, checking Instagram or whatever. All of a sudden, it started foaming. I thought I was going to set the house on fire my very first try.
What the fuck? Gypsy, where the hell that damn country accent come from? Did you get that from Miss Joy? You got that from Miss Joy. This girl is sick, I swear. But anyway, let's move along. Lastly, Miss Joy looks at producers and tells them that, quote, I really believe she did love my son, end quote. I mean, it is just heartbreaking to hear Ryan's mother say that because we all know the kind of person Gypsy Rose is. She doesn't have love for anyone but herself. So I think she is kind of in denial because nobody wants to think that a person that you loved and brought into your home and consider them as a family would take advantage of your child like that. So it was just really hard to hear that. Ryan then finishes off to saying that I think my mom wants me to give up all hopes completely. Yes, Ryan, we all want to punch you in the face and tell you to give up hope of reconciling with Gypsy, okay? She's scum under your shoe. She did you wrong and everyone else can see that except you. Move on from her. You deserve better. But yet again, you deserve what you put out. Whatever you put out is what you attract. And you put out, love letters seeking to find a relationship with a convicted mommy murderer. So that is what you got in return, Ryan. I'm sorry, dude. The date is now December 28, 2024, and we are at the emergency room. We get to see Gypsy Rose doing, I guess she's recording herself on her phone, stating that she is having contractions and that Ken and her dad are on the way, that she just received an epidural, that she didn't really feel it. She just felt a lot of pressure, but you can obviously tell that she is, I don't know, she's relaxed. I don't know if that makes you high. I don't know. I never had an epidural. You guys let me know down below. We get to see Rod, apparently at the time when producers were, he was letting producers know that it's go time, that Gypsy's having her baby. We then get to see the family, Mia, Rod, and Christy in the emergency room sitting down waiting. Mia looks like she's not having it. She's miserable. She did not want to be woken up from her beauty sleep. Rod goes on to say that he got the call at 3:45 in the morning, and that's when they headed over to the hospital. Everyone looks miserable except Ken. Ken looks like he's scrumptiously sleeping in comfort right beside Gypsy. And, the whole family's getting together because, Gypsy's getting ready to give birth to Aurora. So everybody's in the room. And that's when we get the nurse that comes into the room and says, get everybody ready because Gypsy is about to go into the delivery room. And that is where this episode ends. And we get to see what's happening next week when Ken is holding his baby. And there's a clip where Gypsy looks really upset because she's stating that I guess since the baby's been home that she had to do everything by herself. But stay tuned for that. And thank you so much if you watched this full video. As always, please take care of yourself and be safe.